Hey guys, this is Mark Allen with BH Spring Solutions, and today we're talking about the BH Spring Solutions Cartridge Presentation Angle Magazine Gauge Tool for high power magazines. Wow, that is a long title for a tool, and this is a tool that literally sets high power owners apart from other people in the pistol community, because this is a way of fine-tuning your magazines that helps to assure absolute reliability. Here's what the tool looks like. This was developed, it is not identical, but it was developed from some armorer's manual for the country of Britain for when they had the high power. It's assumed that the guy that the man that finished the high power pistol, Dieudonné Save, is also the designer of this tool. Very simply, what this tool is designed to do, and I'm going to show you here in the instructions that come with the tool. The tool is designed to measure the angle of the cartridge in the magazine, and what it's looking for is it's looking for a profile where the cartridge is parallel to this underside of the top of the gauge tool, which is here. So we're going to be looking for parallel. Now, why is this important, and why does this give high power owners somewhat of a hybrid edge in the reliability factor? We want to explain this, and we're going to try to show you with a high power pistol. We have an empty cartridge in this firearm. We just confirmed just before we started recording, and I want to say we are working with live ammunition in all of these magazines because the angle of the cartridge is the point of this particular tool. So real quickly, we're going to go ahead and we're going to insert a magazine with one round. We have an empty cartridge casing here. And the point of why is this angle, the angle of the cartridge here, we're going to show you, or attempt to show you here now, and we're going to try to even put a spotlight into this area. As we pull back the slide, you see the extractor holding on to the empty cartridge, and if we are really good, we're going to see that round in the magazine. And if the front end of that round is too high, then the extractor has to pull that empty cartridge casing past that round that is presented too high as far as its angle of the cartridge here. On the other hand, if that cartridge angle were to be too low, let's say like this, and that's also possible. We've seen that in high power magazines too. When the slide comes forward and attempts to strip this round, it's going to run it in low on the feed ramp, and it's going to create an increased possibility of a failure to feed. When a cartridge angle is too high, as demonstrated here in this example, and this is a very, very slight example compared to, I think, what we'll probably see today. But when the cartridge angle is too high, it positions the bullet too high here inside the pistol, and it causes interference with the holding of that round coming forward and then extracting it out. So that's the reason for this tool. And I want to show you here real quickly these two magazines. Can you see the difference in the angle of them? And would you have any way to know which is optimal, which is frankly acceptable? Without a tool, it's really just kind of impossible to know, and it's kind of all guesswork, and this tool takes the guesswork out of it. This tool is one that is manufactured by BH Spring Solutions. Actually, this was a project of my co-founder, partner Slav Baruchiev, and making this video and showing how this video works is my contribution to my half of the effort. Absolutely a fantastic tool. This thing weighs 4 ounces. It cannot be made any lighter than it is. And the finish of it is a hot gun blue finish. which we thought was kind of appropriate. It is made to last a lifetime. Throw this into your toolbox, abuse it, and it's going to work, and it's not going to lose its shape or anything like that. We're going to get right to measuring these magazines, and you're going to see what we do is we take this notch. That notch goes in the part of the magazine where the magazine release would go, just like that. And then we're going to push this forward and downward. When we do that, that causes the face of the tool to come flush with the back of the magazine, and we can now measure. And now we can see that the front of the bullet profile in this magazine is about that much too high. And we want it to be more like here. So we're going to call that one high. We'll set it aside. This is the other one we showed as a comparison. This is a Metgar nickel magazine, and it too is on the high side. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to adjust that magazine. We got a Metgar magazine here. This is a 15 round Metgar, and look at that. That is beautiful. That cartridge is going to present at the optimal angle to successfully allow for extraction and for feeding. And that cartridge, that magazine just requires no adjustment whatsoever. We're going to set that one aside. That one is in very good. You see how efficient this tool is. This here's another, this is actually an Arcus 94 magazine. And as we're going to see, not bad, but we want to get the angle of the cartridge more like that. And one of the big benefits of having a tool like this is when you are practicing, you're shooting, if you were to have some type of a malfunction, either a failure to eject or a failure to feed, if you know that your magazines are presenting the cartridges correctly, that's one thing that you can rule out. This follows the premise that BH Spring Solutions springs follows, in that if you have installed optimal springs in all of the function areas of your high power pistol, and if you do have a malfunction, you can rule out the springs. This allows you to virtually rule out the magazines as being a causative factor. Here's a South African KRD magazine, and you know, that really looks pretty good. That's virtually perfectly parallel. So I'm not going to make any adjustments to that one. That one looks great. Here's a Metgar 13 round magazine, and that's a little high on the bullet profile on the front. That one's going to get an adjustment. Here we have a Metgar 15 round magazine, and it's a little bit high there on the front. We're going to give that one an adjustment. Here's an FN 10 rounder. That one is also high on the front. Here we've got a Browning or Metgar, also high on the front. We have another KRD in a 15 round flavor, and you know, that one is good. That's really a nice profile, so we're not going to need to adjust that one. And that bullet is run a little high in that KRD magazine, so we'll set that one aside. Here's a Browning Mousetrap spring. My goodness, that one is requiring me to push the front of the bullet profile down with the tool just in order to seat the tool in position. That one definitely is going to get a check. Pops here brought a couple of his high power magazines tonight to get these measured, and we see that is a Metgar 13 round magazine, and that's really about as good as it gets. Real nice. And then we have another one here. We don't have any idea who made this high power magazine, and we're going to do some adjusting to it. The bullet profile's high in the front on that one, so we got one good, one that we're going to adjust. Here is a brand new Metgar 13 round magazine, and just before we started recording, we went ahead and we put a round in this particular magazine, and we also tuned it. In other words, we did make adjustment to the feed lips on it, and it's a pretty good poster child for how these things should look when they're properly tuned. This was not this way out of the box. The bullet profile was a little bit high in the front on that one. So that is what the Cartridge Presentation Angle Magazine Gauge Tool for high power pistols is all about. It's available at bhspringsolutions.com. The big important factor of this tool is it helps you to eliminate your magazine in the event you have any failures, any type of malfunctions or stoppages. It helps you eliminate the magazine as being a causative factor in the malfunction of any kind. I'm Mark Allen for BH Spring Solutions. Thanks for watching.